On this tour, you will see scenic vistas, the glory of ancient Rome, trash cans, and more.
Naples, Italy, home of Pompeii, tracksuits, and pizza. Naples is a city situated along the Mediterranean coast. Some parts are beautiful, many parts not. It's a lively city with charming nightlife and character. Don't be surprised to see people out and about as late as 3 or 4 in the morning. Naples is not your typical tourist destination. Expect a lot of trash and graffiti in the streets. Alright, this is the place that was recommended to us for the best pizza in Napoli. And 20 minutes before it opens, there's already a big line outside the door.
As we've seen with a line.
Right. So it must be pretty special. They claim on the door that they're the birthplace, correct?
They claim it.
Yeah. So we'll see. Wicked. Definitely very good. There is nothing in the world quite like Pompeii. For those who don't know the story, Pompeii was a Roman city destroyed and buried in ash by the nearby volcano, Mount Vesuvius. Because the town was fully buried for over 1,500 years, it was extremely well preserved. This is the only place in the world I know of where you can walk the streets of an entire ancient city.
And that level of,
Right.
oh my god, look at this
Oh
guy.
my god,
How
look at
sassy
that
he is.
sass.
The city contains bathhouses, a brothel, an amphitheater, and arena. It also has temples, impressive houses, and so much more. For fans of history, this is a must-see sight. If you're visiting Italy, it's important that you eat as much gelato as your body will handle. The stuff is sugary dynamite. We had it almost daily, sometimes more than once a day. One thing that we thought was unusual is that this tiny trash can is the only one in the room for a room full of 4 people. So I think they just want us to throw our waste in the street or something, like the locals. Rome, the eternal city, home of the Pantheon, Colosseum, and selfie stick salesmen. Truly, this was and is one of the most magnificent cities on Earth. Of all the places in the world I have been, Rome is my absolute favorite. Cobbled streets, incredible art, and rich history make this city impossible not to fall in love with. When you imagine the perfect European city in your head, that city is likely very close to Rome. At least in the area we stayed, you would be hard-pressed to find a modern building. I have never been to a city where almost every view and corner is incredible. It all has old-world charm and beauty. I had heard stories about the Pantheon for many years before visiting. Nothing I had heard prepared me for what was in store. The nearly 2,000-year-old building, which now serves as a church, was in extremely good condition. It is the only Roman building I have ever seen that requires almost no imagination to view in its original state. Apart from being well preserved, the building itself is an incredible architectural achievement. To this day, it has the largest unreinforced concrete dome ever constructed. It is a treat to the eyes that you must see in person to truly understand. The Pantheon also features elegant marble work all over the place. Even the floors are stunning.
Warning! Italian toilets are normally missing a seat, leak all over the floor, and don't flush. Here's a guide for Americans who want to safely use an Italian toilet. Step 1.
One of Rome's more recent sites, the Altar of the Fatherland, is an amazing example of early 20th century art and construction. The site is massive, contains incredible marble work, and gives you some of the best views of the city, Colosseum, and Roman Forum. In some ways, the site is reminiscent of what much of ancient Rome must have looked like at its peak. Rome has many obelisks, which were taken from the ancient Egyptians long ago. Having been to Cairo, I was surprised to see more obelisks in Rome than I did in Egypt. These are stunning, solid pink granite towers, which were tediously hauled hundreds of miles down the Nile by Egyptians, and then hauled many more miles by the Romans when they were stolen. On our second day in Rome, we visited the Colosseum, Roman Forum, and Palatine Hill. The Colosseum is everything you would want it to be. The massive remains of a stadium that once sat around 50,000 spectators. You get a sense for the scale of this place when you look at the people in the video standing on it. Like most things, you have to go to truly appreciate it. We purchased our tickets in advance, but still waited in a long line. Don't let this surprise you. If you go, watch out for unofficial guides hawking private tours. These can often be scams, and at the least are not the official tour.
No, try this one right here. Oh, this. Yeah. Doesn't look like an art.
Much like Pompeii, the Roman Forum gave us a sense of how ancient Rome was laid out. In many ways, I found it to be a haunting experience as we looked upon the skeleton of a once great civilization. Like the Forum, Palatine Hill required some imagination. The remains of the imperial palace made us all stop and think about how big it must have originally been. If you look at reconstructed images, you can see that it was indeed magnificent. We finished the day visiting what was left of the Circus Maximus. Though it is just a large dent in the landscape of Rome today, you can see how impressive it must have been years ago. If you think the Colosseum is impressive, imagine a building that could accommodate 200,000 spectators as opposed to the 50,000 the Colosseum could hold.
Hell yeah. I know we did that. You gotta actually drink it.
No, I don't. I will edit that out.
Is it still videotaping? Did
Yeah.
you catch that bit? Nice.
Our final day in Rome was spent doing a tour of the Vatican. The museum portion was absolutely fascinating. It contained impressive Roman and Greek artwork and statues. Seeing all of these incredible works gave us an amazing insight into the life of people in ancient times. The Renaissance artwork at the Vatican is the finest I have ever seen, and likely ever will see. This includes the incredible Sistine Chapel by Michelangelo, which we were not permitted to film. Every time that we thought that we had seen it all, we continued to be amazed by what the next room had to offer. We finished the tour by going into St. Peter's Basilica. It was absolutely astounding, and for me, probably the highlight of the trip. Not only did it include amazing artwork, some by Michelangelo himself, it boasted the most impressive marble interior I have ever seen. The video simply does not do this place justice in the slightest. It must be seen in person to get a true sense of the scale and richness of the decor. Ah, the Cinque Terre, known to many as the Gulf of Poets. The combination of lush green mountains, Mediterranean coast, and quaint Italian towns might just make this the most beautiful place on the planet. Or at least that I've seen in my travels. Unfortunately, our stay in the Cinque Terre consisted mostly of rainy weather. In spite of the rain and cold, the beauty of this place was astounding. In many ways, the rain gave the place a special atmosphere that was very neat to witness. When the wind's in my face and the cold is ungodly. In this area, you can travel to different towns via train, boat, or hiking. We opted to do some hiking on our first day, and on our second day, took a boat to Porto Venere. While not part of the Cinque Terre, this town was very enjoyable as it also featured beautiful scenery along with a medieval church and castle.
Gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's production of Romeo and Juliet, starring our Juliet and our Romeo. Give it up for our lead actors.
Woo!
I've been thinking a lot about you these days. I am in love with you.
I've always loved you, Romeo.
Baby, that means so much to me, truly.
I really appreciate your Christopher Walken attitude towards this. Like your face!
Look that way for the video. The morning we left, the sun finally broke, and we got to see Monte Rosso in its full splendor. This is a place one could easily spend a leisurely week in the summer. Our final 2 days in Italy were spent in Venice. In many ways, Venice is just like what you see in the movies. From the gondolas to the live music and scenic waterways. Don't be surprised to see lots of tourists from all over the world visiting this charming city. If you like shopping, Venice is a great place to buy souvenirs, clothing, and gifts. Specifically, Venice is known for its glasswork and costume masks. Look at me. Look at me. I'm the captain now. If you visit Venice, make sure to go to St. Mark's Basilica. Nothing shows off the wealth of this town like the incredible gold mosaic work covering nearly the entire interior of this church. Unfortunately, we were not able to film or photograph inside. Here's a picture I stole.
But then I spent money on like my card too a little bit.
Right.
But you mostly paid.
I'm sure it's something.
We finished our stay in Italy with some final gelatos. Flew back home the next morning out of the Marco Polo airport. Italy was the first country I have been to where I wouldn't just recommend that someone go. I would say that they need to go. It's something that you simply must experience. If you haven't been yet, I recommend that you make it a top priority. You won't be disappointed.
What is up with these chairs? These chairs are really ridiculous. Plastic, clear chairs.
How do you even know if you're sitting?